CEO Ronald Hickler from Creating the Difference. We're going to talk a little bit about the lane conditions that we're bowling on when we're going to do these ball reviews this time. A little bit different style. So I've got two different lane surfaces. This lane surface happens to be Brunswick Pro-Am lane. That surface over there happens to be AMF SPL. But what's additionally different is look at the white lights, and you can see right now I'm kind of going back and forth. I want you to be able to see the dry portion of the lane, and then boom, you can begin to see the oil portion of the lane. Now, what's interesting is lane 1 is a fresh lane condition. Lane 2 has had some bowling on it, and you can see that. You can see the carry down. People always say reactive balls don't carry down oil and blah, 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 but at the end of the day, there is carry down from Bowling League, and you can actually see it here. So we're actually going to show you two different lane conditions. You can see this is actually the pattern, and as it goes out to the dry, it isn't as dry as the other lane because it's got all these streaks in it, and that's just from the oil that's been left over from the balls of League that we had bowling last night. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to have my man Billy Levan. He's going to throw some shots for you with several different bowling balls, and we're going to talk a little bit about where these bowling balls are most useful. Now, some of you may go, what's that right there? That actually is the specto sensor. So that is what we use in combination with clutch, which is what you're seeing right here, to be able to show you what's going on in terms of the ball motion. So now you say, cool, what balls are we looking at? Well, we've actually got 4 bowling balls we're going to look at today. We're going to start off with the brand new Storm Nova. We have a track Paragon, brand new Columbia Eruption, which happens to be a remake, and then another knockout type ball. So we're going to look at all 4 of these on 2 different lane conditions, and we're going to start doing that right now. So Billy's going to start off first by grabbing that Storm Nova. That is one of the new pieces from Storm. We're going to start off by bowling with each ball on the fresh house condition. So we'll start off throwing each ball on lane 2, or I'm sorry, on lane 1. First shot with the ball. We'll kind of take a look at the ball motion. We will examine the performance of each ball and kind of see what these bowling balls do. He'll make a move off of that shot. A little bit more in. All right. Throws a strike with it. We'll have him throw one. Matter of fact, we'll have him throw 4 shots with each ball. That way we can get a rough idea of just kind of how that ball performs. And he'll just try to strike. Like, the goal here is just going to be to strike. And we'll kind of take a peek at where these balls perform best. So that was a little bit further right. Did not recover. All the balls are drilled the same too, so no concern about that. All the balls are drilled the exact same. And that layout happens to be 40 by 4 3/4 by 60 degrees. That's what Billy's using. All right, we'll throw one more shot. So Storm Nova looks like it's a strong continuous piece, which means it should be pretty decent on this pattern since it's fresh. Be interesting to see how it performs on the carry down over there. 10 back. Yes, sir. All right, so we got a good idea what the Storm Nova does now. We're going to move to another strong piece. We're going to throw that Brunswick Knockout. I'm curious to see how the Knockout compares. close. It's a little bit right. Ooh. Those shots were pretty close. Maybe a board to the right. That ball definitely came back nice and strong. We'll have him throw 3 more shots with the knockout. And this is kind of a little different review, a little different format. The idea here is to give you an idea of how different bowling balls perform in different environments, and maybe help you make a selection for a bowling ball that you may need based on your style of play and what you're bowling on. Well, that one's in a little bit, so did not quite recover. And you can see, I mean, we've got a house shot out here. Obviously, there's more oil to the inside part of the lane. There is less oil to the outside part of the lane. In this particular case, when he missed in, the ball over pushed and did not recover very well. That one's back out. And it's 10 back. All right. We'll give him one more shot with the knockout. Close. Ring tag. All right, fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. So now we will move to a stronger piece, right? We're gonna move to the new track Paragon. The Paragon ball is going to be a stronger piece, should be more total hook, but earlier, right? So we're gonna see if that pans out. You know, when he missed in and the ball didn't come around the corner, I believe the Paragon should really be able to make up for that and still be able to strike. What'll be interesting to see is how the Paragon handles when it gets to the friction. Does it hook a little too early and bail, or does it keep going? Very close line, a little further right. Definitely came back. Strong roll there for sure. So it was in at the front part of the lane and out to the break point was further to the right, but that ball did recover nice. Further right even still. Paragon's looking pretty solid right now. So getting into the friction definitely is not an issue for that particular ball. No problem recovering. Interesting note, the Storm Nova ball has set longer than the Brunswick knockout, but yet the knockout ball, the oil seems to be evaporating or going away, absorbing, I'm sorry, I should say, absorbing faster than the Storm Nova. Just a little side note there. All right. That one's in. That's the one where it should bail. Ooh, so Paragon definitely is stronger, more total hook than the knockout, and it definitely can handle a little bit more oil. Obviously, with him leaving the 4-9, that shot being inside, there was no issue with that ball making the move. Whereas the knockout, when it was inside like that, it pushed a little too much, couldn't recover very well. So Paragon definitely is a strong piece. That's how you can tell. Last shot, that's going to be 10 back. There it is. Cool. All right, so we got one more ball. We're going to throw the Eruption, Columbia Eruption ball. Now, what's interesting about this ball, it's a remake. And what's interesting about this ball is this ball's probably going to be the weakest of the group. That ball definitely is going to have a lot less surface on it than the other balls. It's finished with the rough boss finish, and the other balls are all sanded, so this ball should not perform as aggressively. Doesn't mean that it won't work, but he's probably going to end up having to be further right. So that one's definitely, that's a bad shot. All right, we won't count that shot. We won't hold that shot against Billy. Shot number 1 there. We won't count that one. Get ourselves a fresh rack there. Definitely interested to see these oil absorption though. This oil absorption here. So, I mean, that ball obviously is still pretty fresh in terms of the shot information that's on the ball, right? And you look over here, And you look at the storm ball, and they definitely are absorbing at different rates. All right, anyway. There we go, that's gonna push. Now that was a flat 10 pin, so that tells me immediately that when he missed in there, or got in the oil I should say, and that ball left a flat 10 pin, which means it's definitely not going to be a super strong piece. I don't think it was intended to be that way either. So this ball is going to be a much better piece when the lanes begin to break down. I can tell you just from what I'm seeing here, these 4 balls could be a pretty good arsenal. Like overall, you could get some pretty decent shapes out of just these 4 balls. They obviously do not roll the same. And there are some substantial differences that could make these 4 balls something that you may want all 4 of them in your bag. Well, that's to the friction. Let's see if it comes back. Whee! There she goes. There she goes. That was actually pretty cool. Not only did you throw the messenger across, but it still felt really slow. Awesome. All right, so we got 2 more shots to throw. Well, that ball obviously has a whole lot tighter flare pattern. We'll show you on the next shot. It's got a lot tighter flare pattern than the other balls. And that means that the differential is lower than the other balls. So let's take a peek. Nice. Nice. He'll throw one more shot with that ball. He didn't like that one, but he just left the 4 pin. No worries. It was inside 4 pin. Have some more information about that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to lane 2, because lane 2 is a little bit different, right? I just showed you there's a whole lot of carry down on lane 2 from the bowling that happened during league. So we will bowl on lane 2 now in the same order, except we're only going to throw 2 shots. 2 shots with each ball. Start with the Storm Nova. Get a good feel here for how that ball rolls. Okay, now that time the Nova left a flat 10 pin. Remember I told you about the tighter flare rings? So definitely tighter flare rings there on the Eruption ball compared to the other balls. We'll throw one more shot there. So you say, well, what's going on here? So this pattern is definitely beat up, and there's more friction in the front, as well as some carry down in the back just from the bowling balls being used. So the stronger balls should begin to be a little bit weaker. And this is kind of when we say like your ball's burning up, this is kind of the environment that creates that if you use too strong of a ball. Let's see if that ball continues. So see that? You see that right there? That's what I'm talking about. So it isn't that that he threw that ball so bad, it's that the ball's hooking early, and because it's hooking early, it can't hook late. And it looks like because of that, the ball's not hooking a lot at all, but it's just hooking too early. So we'll throw one more shot with that. I want to show them again. This is a great lesson. You saw how great the Nova looked on the fresh condition because it had the push from the fresh condition and the friction down lane. But now what's actually happening is the ball's actually burning up. So it's hooking too early, which is why it's not hooking down lane as well. There we go. Got it in. Got him a nice little strike there. So now we'll move to the next ball, which is the knockout. So when you're bowling, and especially if you started out with that ball on the fresh, you're like, man, this ball's great. But by game 3, you're like, man, it's not hooking. It could be because the bowling ball's burning up. Now, conversely, that ball looked pretty solid there, the knockout. Now, I'm curious to see in a similar fashion if he throws it again, if it does the same kind of thing. If it keeps going. Remember, that ball hooked less than the Nova ball, so it would kind of make some sense to me that it may work better on this condition. We'll see. Missed a little right. Didn't matter. Didn't matter. All right, that's interesting. Now, here's where it gets more interesting. So now he's gonna throw that Paragon, right? Now the Paragon, obviously, super strong ball, hooked a lot on the fresh. What does it do on the burn? What does it do when there is, the front part of the lane is chewed up and there's a little bit of carry down as a result of league play? Woo! Not scared at all. Not scared one bit. Nice, strong motion out of that ball. We'll have to throw it again. That's what I was kind of curious. I was kind of curious to see, because typically the bigger, stronger balls tend to bail when they begin to see more of that burn on the front and carry down. But that time, that ball did not do that at all. All right, that should be another 10 back. All right, ring 10. Billy, throw that ball one more time for me. I did not necessarily like that ring 10, so I want to see something. I want to have you throw it one more time. We'll take a peek at it. See if that should strike. All right, so see how it struck, right? But did you see how the ball went through the pins? Throw it again, one more time. I want you to watch how the ball's changing, because what's happening is the ball's getting straighter and straighter and straighter. And that's because it's hooking earlier. So this is exactly what I was telling you about that can tend to happen with the bigger, stronger hooking balls. So a lot of times the consumer thinks, man, I get the biggest hooking bowling ball and I'm set. That may be true on the fresh, but not so much on the burn. See that? There it is. Flatty, flat, 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 flat. And that's just because the ball's looking too early. So, to prove that point, we're going to now move to the next ball, which is going to be that Eruption ball. Now, the Eruption ball on this probably is going to be fine. My guess is it's going to be just fine, which is why I was telling you earlier, these 4 balls may be a great combination to have, just because it allows you some versatility in your arsenal. You can change from ball to ball to ball and be able to stay in the pocket and be able to keep that good ball motion to get you to strike. So that shot was right and it responded just perfectly. So we'll have him throw 2 more shots there. I just want to see 2 more shots and we're gonna take a peek. But I really believe that this is kind of the telltale sign that having one bowling ball when you're bowling, multiple games isn't necessarily the best thing, because as the lane conditions changing, your ball motion is going to change. And there are other ways to adjust. You could throw it harder, you could throw it slower, you could make a lot of physical movements, you could move left, you could move right. But just from a ball motion standpoint, having the right ball matters. That one's in. Let's see if it strikes. Okay. All right. So there. Got it in. Once again, there's going to be some more oil, plus you got the whole carry down, plus it's supposed to hook a little bit in the front. That ball is cleaner than the rest of the bowling balls. Did not recover very well at all. We'll have to throw one more shot with that ball. Give him a full rack there. And we'll throw one more shot and talk a little bit about what we've seen. All these balls are available at bowlingforless.com. Flat. So, on this particular pattern, obviously the best bowling ball that I would be using would be that knockout. Billy, let's talk for a quick second here. So, what did you kind of see out of the 4 bowling balls, starting with the Storm Nova?
Very strong, very continuous. Had to be really, I needed a little more oil with it because it was really strong for me. The knockout was really smooth on actually both patterns, on the fresh and on the dry. And then the other 2 balls, they moved good. I liked them. The Eruption was good. We just kind of stood in the same spot and threw the Eruption, and she didn't move. But that one I got right, I actually moved my feet a little bit there, and she come up really nice, and she rolled really good.
And what about that Paragon?
Paragon was nice. I liked the Paragon. I thought it rolled good and was a little more controlling for me. so it didn't overreact for me. That was the only problem I kind of had with the Nova. The Nova would kind of want to overreact for me just a little bit.
So what this is showing you is how important it is to have multiple bowling balls in your arsenal, especially when you're bowling over the course of 3 or 4 games. Having multiple bowling balls can give you an advantage to be able to keep you in the pocket and keep you striking as long as possible. So with that being said, on behalf of Billy Levin, I am CEO Ron Hickman from Creating the Difference. Talk to you soon.